9 Psychology lessons you're not taught in school.
The brain works in mysterious ways, but a lot of these mysteries have been debunked by psychology and science. Do you want to know why the book The Secret works? Or why when you learn a new word, you start to hear it everywhere? Well, keep watching this video. I'm going to explain 9 fascinating psychology lessons that will certainly explain a lot about how your brain works. Number 1, the nocebo effect. So you might have heard about the placebo effect. It's when, if you take a pill that you believe produces positive results, your physical body will respond accordingly, even if the pill is fake. For example, you could unknowingly take a sugar pill, and you might believe that it's going to help with your headache, and before you know it, your symptoms are gone. Now, the reverse can also occur, something called the nocebo effect. A doctor might give you a pill and tell you that you might experience nausea or dizziness as a side effect. You take the pill, which you don't even realize is just a sugar pill, and you start to feel nauseous and dizzy, just because he told you it might be a side effect. If we truly believe that we are going to experience something, our minds and bodies will follow suit. This shows the power of how important it is to master your mind. Now, number 2 is, I'm going to butcher this one, but it's called the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. Have you ever learned a new word and you started to see that word everywhere? Or maybe you watched a new television show and all of a sudden everyone starts talking about it. Well, this might be the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon in action. Our brains are built with a cognitive bias towards things that we recently learned. This new information receives priority over information that we've known for years, or information we don't recognize at all. When this new information is brought to our attention, our brain does this extra work to make sure that we're aware of it and process the information again. In reality, that word that you just learned isn't magically appearing, but now that you recognize it, your brain makes sure that you see it. Number 3 is anchoring. Your friend tells you that they found new shoes for really cheap prices at the store, but when they tell you the price, you realize that you have completely different ideas of what cheap means. How does your brain determine what cheap is in the first place? Well, technically, it's based on something called an anchor. When we first learn information, we tend to reflect back on that initial information once we are faced with a similar situation. If growing up, you lived in a town where gas was $2 per gallon, you will be anchored with the idea that $2 is the price for a gallon of gas. It's a normal price. Now, a station that has gas for $3.50 might seem really expensive to you. And conversely, if you grew up in a town where gas was $5 a gallon, anything below that will seem like a sweet deal. This is why older people usually complain that gas is so high. In reality, you don't mind paying $3 for a gallon. The next lesson is the 80-20 principle. Using the 80-20 principle, also commonly known as the Pareto principle, it is the easiest way to ramp up your productivity. This principle states that 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes. Now, how does this work in real life? 80% of the money that a business makes will likely come from 20% of the most loyal, high-paying customers. Another example is that 80% of the knowledge you retain comes from only 20% of your study techniques, whether that's note cards or memorization or sample quizzes. And the last example is that 80% of the support that you feel from your community will only be from 20% of your best cheerleaders or friends or support group. Think about this principle as you plan your day or you set your goals for next year. Out of the 5 goals that you want to set, which one will bring you the most fulfillment and the joy? Most likely, it'll also help out with the other 4. Use this principle to focus more on your efforts on one goal to see the best results. Number 5 is the law of attraction. How do you bring positive things into your life? Well, psychology says you just have to think positive thoughts. It's as simple as that according to the law of attraction theory. The law of attraction says that we can manifest whatever we focus our thoughts on. If you focus your thoughts on making money, money-making opportunities will present themselves to you. Now, this is the important part. Money won't manifest, but the opportunity to make money will. You still have to put in the action. You can't just sit on your couch. If you focus your thoughts on meeting wonderful people, you will start to see wonderful people everywhere. You might be thinking it's just one of those wise old mountain guru hippie talk, but in reality, you have something called a reticular activating system in your brain that causes the law of attraction to work. Your brain is overloaded with billions of things every day, and your brain has to choose what is important. So what it does is it offloads the process of finding things to focus on to the reticular activating system. Well, you can tell your reticular activating system that it should be looking for job opportunities, or cute girls, or a way to speed up your business process. Those were all there before, but now your brain is actively searching for them, just like when you learn a new word and the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon occurs. Number 6 is something called the similarity attraction principle. Everyone has preferences. Our brain might automatically switch off whenever we talk to a person that we don't like or maybe taste new flavors. But how does the brain determine what we like and what we don't like? Well, the similarity attraction principle says it starts with us. We tend to be attracted to the things that are similar to us. We might feel comfortable around people who look like us, people who talk like us, or even even people who come from the same places that we came from. We gravitate towards organizations that share our values, or groups that focus on an activity that we participate in. In fact, if you have a beard, and a person with a beard asks you to do something, you'll be much more likely to follow through than if the request was asked by someone without a beard, because you subconsciously feel similar to the person with the beard. This is also one of the major reasons that the law of attraction works. If we become a person that thinks positive things and holds a positive attitude, we will recognize and will be drawn to other positive people and positive opportunities. So I recommend making your thoughts positive, and your brain will start to like positive people, positive things, and positive places. The next one is one of my favorites. It's called the spontaneous trait transference theory. Subconsciously, we all recognize ideas like the similarity attraction principle and the law of attraction. These ideas may influence the way that we perceive other people, even when they talk about other people. The spontaneous trait transference phenomenon is the idea that when we describe traits to another person, the people listening to us will start to associate those traits with us. So here we go. If you tell a friend a story about how your coworker's amazingly smart, they're hardworking, and they're super positive, well, your friend will start seeing those traits in you, even if you don't have them. There is a ton of research on this, and it's super powerful, so be really careful when you're gossiping, because it works the other way around. This is a good excuse to quit gossiping. If you tell a friend that your coworker is nasty and they're rude, your friend will start to see those traits in you. The next lesson I'd like to talk about is called cognitive dissonance. We all grow up with one initial perspective, how we were raised. We hold on to these beliefs and are attracted to people and ideas that enforce these beliefs. But what will happen when we come into contact with contradictory ideas or contradictory theories? This is when cognitive dissonance kicks in. Now, this is a situation in which we are faced with two ideas, two perspectives or beliefs or realities that oppose each other. Our brain starts to feel very uncomfortable with these clashing ideas. And this type of discomfort is a type of pain that our brain desperately wants to avoid. Instead, our brain seeks out things that will bring us pleasure, right? Maybe you believe that helping the environment is more important than looking cool, but you drive a gas-guzzling sports car. Well, these two are kind of contradictory, aren't they? Over time, we may unconsciously avoid and ignore anything that would contradict what we believe. This means that you'll either change your belief about helping the environment being important, or you'll change your behavior of driving a gas-guzzling car. Now, this car is just an example, but cognitive dissonance can cause a lot of stress, and just changing little things like that can relieve a lot of stress in your life that you don't even know what is causing it. And the last one is something called mere exposure. What's the best way to get comfortable with a new idea, a culture, a person, or an activity? Well, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is expose yourself very slowly to it. The mere exposure effect is a psychological theory that explains why humans are more comfortable with things that they're familiar with. When you're introduced to or you hear about something new, you might distance yourself or feel uncomfortable with this newness. But once that period of exposure is over, you become more comfortable with the idea, and you may even grow to like it. Here's an example. Maybe you're unsure about trying a new sports drink. However, on your way to work, there's a billboard on the right side of the road with a flavor that you think might taste good. You notice it for the first time when they put it up, and then maybe after a month and a couple weeks, you kind of forget about it, but it's still there. Well, after a month, you start craving that new drink, which is weird. Eventually, you go into the gas station and you buy it. Well, research says that even though you consciously noticed it once when they put it up, it being there the entire 30 days or 60 days or however long you saw it made your brain think, okay, that's not such a scary drink, and resulted in the motivation of you trying that drink. Another example is dating. If you can be around a girl that you like for more than a week or two, your chances of scoring a date massively go up. Even if you only see her for 3 minutes a day while maybe waiting in line for your coffee, that repeated exposure of her to you makes her more comfortable around you and greatly increases the chance of scoring a date. Now, a lot of these lessons work together, and now that you're aware of them, you can use them to open your mind. You can meet new people and even get a more well-rounded view of the world.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and hit bell button.